Welcome to Poetry Beyond the Buzz. This episode is going to be broken up into two parts. The first part is looking at Nathaniel Hawthorne, and a lot of his writings appeared to be around his family history and the guilt associated with it. His family was a part of some negative aspects of early American history, and his writings takes a look at some of that. First up, the ocean. The ocean has its silent caves, deep, quiet, and alone. Though there be fury on the waves, beneath them there is none. The awful spirits of the deep hold their communion there. And there are those whom we weep, the young, the bright, the fair. Calmly the wearied seamen rest beneath their own blue sea. The ocean solitudes are blessed, for there is purity. The earth has guilt, the earth has care, unquiet are its graves, but peaceful sleep is ever there beneath the dark blue waves. Next up, Address to the Moon. How sweet the silver moon's pale ray falls trembling on the distant bay, over which the breezes sigh no more, nor billows lash the sounding shore. Say, do the eyes of those I love behold thee as thou soarest above, lonely, majestic, and serene, the calm and placid evening's queen? Say, if upon thy peaceful breast departed spirits find their rest, for those who wish a fairer home than in that bright, refulgent dome. Next up, Earthly Pomp. O earthly pomp is but a dream, and like a meteor's short-lived gleam, and all the suns of glory soon will rest beneath the mouldering stone. And genius is a star whose light is soon to sink in endless night, and heavenly beauty's angel form will bend like flower in winter storm. Next up, a small piece from the Scarlet Letter. It is to the credit of human nature that, except where its selfishness is brought into play, it loves more readily than it hates. Next up, my low and humble home. I left my low and humble home, far from my father's fields to roam. My peaceful cot no more had charms, my only joy was war's alarms. I panted for the field of fight, I gazed upon the deathless light, which over the hero's grave is shed, the glorious memory of the dead. Ambition showed a distant star that shed its radiance bright and far, and pointed to a path which led over heaps of dying and of dead. Onward I pressed with eager feet, and war's dread thunder still would greet my reckless ears. Wherever I trod, I saw the green and verdant sod turn red with blood of slaughtered foes, and fury veiled in smoke arose. I gained the envied height, and there I sighed for that lone cottage where the early hours of life flew by on wings of youthful ecstasy. Too late I found that glory's ray could never bring one happy day. Next up, go to your grave. Go to the grave where friends are laid, and learn how quickly mortals fade. Learn how the fairest flower must droop. Learn how the strongest form must stoop. Learn that we are but dust and clay, the short-lived creatures of a day. Yet do not sigh, there is a clime where they will dwell through endless time, who here on earth their Maker serve, and never from his precepts swerve. The grave to them is but a road that leads them to that blessed abode. Last up, a couple small pieces to close out the first half. We are but shadows. We are not endowed with real life, and all that seems most real about us is but the thinnest substance of a dream, till the heart be touched. That touch creates us, then we begin to be. Therefore we are beings of reality and inheritors of eternity. Happiness is like a butterfly, which when pursued is always beyond our grasp, but if you will sit down quietly, it may alight upon you. Up next, into the second part, we're going to take a look at Henry David Thoreau. He was a nature lover. He wrote a number of poems and a book called Walden. He followed Emerson, but he lived what Emerson wrote, and he was against the poll tax, went to jail for it, and that's where he wrote an essay on disobedience. One thing to take note of is that he was considered a failure of his time at a young age and did not listen to that and moved on. And here we are over a century later talking about him. So he turned that negativity into a positive and created a legacy. First up, life in the woods. I went to the woods because I wished to live deliberately, to front only the essential facts of life and see if I could not learn what it had to teach, and not, when I came to die, discover that I had not lived. Next up, nature. O nature, I do not aspire to be the highest in thy choir, to be a meteor in thy sky, or comet that may range on high, only a zephyr that may blow among the reeds by the river low. Give me thy most privy place, where to run my airy race. In some withdrawn on public mead, let me sigh upon a reed, or in the woods with a leafy din, whisper the still evening in, some still work give me to do, only be it near to you. For I'd rather be thy child and pupil in the forest wild, than to be the king of men elsewhere, and most sovereign slave of care. To have one moment of thy dawn, then share the city's year forlorn. Up next, mist. Low-anchored cloud, Newfoundland air, fountainhead and source of rivers, dewcloth, dream drapery, and napkins spread buffets, drifting meadow of the air, where bloom the daisy banks and violets, and in whose fenny labyrinth the bittern booms and heron wades. Spirit of the lake and seas and rivers, bear only perfumes and the scent of healing herbs to just men's fields. Up next, a small piece from Walden. However mean your life is, meet it and live it. Do not shun it and call it hard names. Up next, the poet's delay. In vain I see the morning rise, in vain observe the western blaze, who idly look to other skies, expecting life by other ways. Amidst such boundless wealth without, I only still am poor within. The birds have sung their summer out, but still my spring does not begin. Shall I then wait the autumn wind, compelled to seek a milder day, and leave no curious nest behind, no woods still echoing to my lay? Up next, a marshhawk in spring. There is health in thy grey wing, health of nature's furnishing. Say thou, modern winged antique, was thy mistress ever sick? In each heaving of thy wing, thou dost health and leisure bring. Thou dost waive disease and pain, and resume new life again. Up next, rumors from an Aeolian harp. There is a vale which none hath seen, where foot of man has never been, such as here lives with toil and strife, and anxious in a sinful life. There every virtue has its birth, ere it descends upon the earth, and thither every deed returns, which is the generous bosom burns. There love is warm, and youth is young, and poetry is yet unsung. For virtue still adventures there, and freely breathes her native air, and ever, if you hearken well, you still may hear its vesper bell. And tread of high-souled men go by, their thoughts conversing with the sky. Up next, the moon. The full-orbed moon, with unchanging ray, mounts up the eastern sky, not doomed to these short nights for aye, but shining steadily. She does not wane, but my fortune, which her rays do not bless. My wayward path declineth soon, but she shines not the less. And if she faintly glimmers here, and paled is her light, yet always in her proper sphere she's mistress of the night. Up next, friendship. I think a while of love, and while I think, love is to me a world, soul meat and sweetest drink, and close connecting link between heaven and earth. I only know it is, not how or why, my greatest happiness, however hard I try. Not if I were to die, can I explain. I fain would ask my friend how it can be, but when the time arrives, then love is more lovely than anything to me, and so I'm dumb. For if the truth were known, love cannot speak, but only thinks and does, though surely out 'twill leak without the help of Greek or any tongue. A man may love the truth and practice it, beauty he may admire, and goodness not omit, as much as may befit to reverence. But only when these three together meet, as they always incline, and make one soul the seat and favorite retreat of loveliness. When under kindred shape, like loves and hates, and a kindred nature, proclaim us to be mates, exposed to equal fates eternally, and each may other help and service do, drawing love's bands more tight, service he never shall rue, while one and one make two, and two are one. In such case only doth man fully prove, fully as man can do, what power there is in love, his utmost soul to move resistlessly. Two sturdy oaks I mean, which side by side withstand the winter storm, in spite of winds and tide, grow up the meadow's pride, for both are strong. Above they barely touch, but undermined down to their deepest source, admiring you shall find, their roots are intertwined inseparably. And a couple short poems to close this out. Live in each season as it passes. Breathe the air, drink the drink, taste the fruit, and resign yourself to the influence of the earth. My life has been the poem I would have writ, but I could not both live and utter it. Till next we meet.